Well, the tortoise is still crawling. The keynotes from Intel, Nvidia, and AMD have all happened, and some time has passed, and now we have time to digest the news. We're going to share an overview of what we saw, what we heard, and reactions to all of it. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on Intel. And that happens right here, right now on Robeytech. Now, if you've watched Intel's keynote, you really only got part of the story of what's happening. While we got to hear about Intel's direction from the interim co-CEO and CEO of Intel Products, Michelle Johnston-Holthaus, there was a whole presentation that wasn't streamed and had a few things worth talking about alongside product details dropped during the keynote. So we're going to put it all together to talk about the new CPUs and motherboards, a release window for the next Battlemage GPU, and the next big thing for mobile platforms, along with a wish list of sorts that we wish we had actually seen. Obviously, we're not going to give you like a play-by-play, so if you want to watch Intel's keynote, we'll put a link down in the description. Now let's start with what's new on the desktop side first, because there is something that we're pretty excited about even though it took place outside of the keynote. Intel announced budget-conscious H810 and B860 motherboards with H series boards launching at around $100, while the new B series boards will start around $130. Both H and B series boards will have a slimmer feature set than the Z series counterparts, so no Wi-Fi 7 or overclocking. But if you're a beginner builder or trying to make every single penny count, these are absolutely great options. We typically stick with B series boards for our budget build since we like giving people a potential upgrade path for future expansions. As for the H series, it's a lot more limited on things like PCI lanes and USB ports, but if you're looking for the absolute cheapest route to take with a Core Ultra build, the H series is an option. And speaking of options, this next product announcement is the perfect option to pair with these motherboards: 65-watt non-K versions and 35-watt T versions of Intel's new Arrow Lake or Intel Core Ultra 200S series of desktop CPUs. Now, what's interesting here is we don't typically see these T SKUs outside of corporate machines from companies like Dell and Lenovo. However, with the advent of things like Nvidia's SFF Ready Standard, smaller size GPUs, I mean, come on, 50 series 2-slot, what? Intel did make a point of talking about these new Core Ultra 200T processors being great options for small form factor builds. Now, the 65-watt non-K CPUs should also be great options for both budget and SFF builds alike. Now, we didn't get official prices for these CPUs. We did find recommended prices, though, on Intel's website. Keep in mind, these prices are listed are recommended prices, and some of them had prices for both the box CPUs and bulk tray prices. We still have to wait to see what official prices are once they hit store shelves. Now, what we won't have to wait for much longer is the new Intel Arc B570. While conversation didn't hover around it too much, Intel had already released info on the B570, so maybe they thought, you know what, it doesn't need much of a spotlight. What Intel did highlight, though, was that how much that they essentially learned from Intel Arc A series launch and the supporting drivers for the past few years. If the Arc B570 can wow us in the same way that the B580 did, we're about to see an influx of options for budget builds, which we absolutely love to see. And Intel is releasing the B570 at around $220 following CES. So just like the new desktop CPUs and motherboards, we now have some really interesting options to make some $600, $500, $800, basically Intel Core Ultra / Intel Arc series basically builds. I'm really excited for it. I just hope it ends up being like a dream that turns into reality. Now, next up, let's talk about laptops and mobile, because there is actually a bit to talk about here. So what we are getting, and probably the least interesting thing here for you guys, is we're getting the new Intel Core Ultra 200V or Lunar Lake processors with the addition of Intel vPro for business, AI productivity, hardware-enhanced security, and more. Not all that interesting for most of you, but Intel is tagging this as a premium offering, which is interesting considering that one of the big questions that people asked, and we learned with new Lunar Lake laptops back in the fall, is, are we ever going to see these new chips paired with discrete GPUs? And the answer is still no. But that's okay, because what was exciting was the 3 other mobile processors, the ones with integrated ARC graphics, like Lunar Lake, as well as ones meant for pairing with powerful discrete GPUs. Rather than these mobile CPUs being part of the Lunar Lake family, these new Core Ultra CPUs carry the Arrow Lake name to mobile. These are all filling basically different power needs for different kinds of users. Now let's start with the least interesting, the Intel Core Ultra 200U CPUs. We didn't get a whole lot of information on these other than they were like 10 to 20 watt CPUs meant for like mainstream mobile devices that are like in education, retail, healthcare, and beyond. So essentially, you're not going to be seeing these in gaming laptops, but hey, cool to see that advancement in those areas. Now, Where we are going to see gaming laptops, and the stuff that I'm actually genuinely excited about, and we saw so many of these at CES, is the new Core Ultra 200HX processors. Now the 200HX processors are beefy 55 watt starting, let me just say, and more, and over CPUs that are designed for enthusiasts who want to pair their mobile processor with the discrete GPU, and they need extra processing power. Now because of that, Intel didn't stack as many integrated Xe graphics cores onto this chip, which makes a lot of sense because you're going to be using it for basically discrete GPUs, not necessarily integrated GPUs, but the integrated GPU still does stuff. It's all very cool. Now, as far as the other features go, the 200HX series will support Wi-Fi 7 and Thunderbolt 5. It'll have up to 24 cores. It's got a built-in Intel NPU 3 and overall higher performance for power, allegedly. Now, we'll have to validate these claims once we get our hands on Core Ultra 200HX equipped laptops, which looks like that could be sooner rather than later. At the time of this video, Intel was saying we could review samples in Q1 with retail following, and trust me, lots of people are making these. Now, hang on to your curiosity here because we're going to talk about this in just a second. Next up, we have the Intel Core Ultra 200H series of processors, and these are focused on the thin and light market, filling that 28 to 45 watt space. You know, right there where, you know, like the Zephyrus G16 and like the MSI Stealth. These fall into an interesting category because it looks like Intel's main comparison for 200H CPUs are Meteor Lake H processors like the ones I just mentioned, or AMD's Ryzen AI 9 365 and Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite 84-100. Hang on to that too. Now we're going to talk about Intel's charts in just a minute, but the Core Ultra 200H carries similar features as the 200HX with the NPU, Wi-Fi, Thunderbolt, and more, but it's the extra Arc Alchemist graphics cores that Intel is really hyping up. And hey, they should hype up their graphics. They've come a long way from Iris. And finally, interim CEO Michelle Johnson-Holthaus showed off the new Panther Lake chip. This is their next mobile CPU Intel is actually working on. There wasn't a whole lot of like, hey, other than, hey, it's a thing. All in all, Intel had a modest keynote. When you compare that to something like the 50 series and all of the announcements around NVIDIA, and even in some regards against AMD, it was okay. But we do have to point out some things that we saw and some things we would have liked to have seen more of during the keynote and press conference. But even still, guys, we always try to remain skeptically optimistic about tech, especially when we look at marketing. Of course, we can get excited about what we think is neat, but we do have to hold back the conference hype until we can actually see these products for ourselves. What we can say is that when we looked at the charts, we kind of noticed a few things that could have been presented better. Take, for instance, the new mobile processors. We couldn't help but notice that in some of the comparisons that Intel was actually showing their performance numbers for, like the Core Ultra 200HX, they were based off of like 2 or 3 times the power draw of their competitors. And in some cases, like in UL Procion's Office Productivity Benchmark, those gains were like 23% better than the Snapdragon X Elite at a much higher power draw, which I don't know if that was a really good representation of the 200HX in terms of looking at it in the best light. But don't get me wrong, 23% is not a small number, but neither is the power differential either. Though we could look at it from the perspective that Intel is showing that their new CPUs could handle extra power and obviously provide more performance. Also, to be fair, Intel did show some scores that were based off of the reference power of 55 watts compared to 150 watts, but in some cases the jump was noticeable, in others, not so much. But then we saw the 200HS versus a similar bunch of gaming. And Intel was definitely not kind to Qualcomm when it came to compatibility in gaming, which is, if you watch the review of the Microsoft Surface Laptop Copilot Plus PC, which you can check out right here, which, by the way, is the Snapdragon laptop's official name, you can see that this is a really unfair comparison to be making here. It'd be like comparing a MacBook Pro in gaming, which would have actually made more sense basically comparing it in creator applications and AI workloads. I mean, people don't really game on MacBook Pros, though I tried, and you can watch the video for that right there, nor do they really game on Snapdragon X Elites. Picking on charts is low-hanging fruit, and if there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's this. Don't get dazzled by charts and marketing before we have products tested by people like ourselves, Jay, Just Josh, and Linus. Understand that conferences like CES is Intel and NVIDIA's and everybody's opportunity to get people hyped about your products, and there's a lot of things to get hyped about, like budget-friendly motherboards, lower powered options for desktop CPUs, and honestly, I am actually really excited about the new generation of laptop chips. And if it wasn't the keynote or press conference at all, it's just talking with the partners and seeing how they're using them, and honestly, just knowing what they used to do previous and what they're excited about coming out with these new ones. And trust me, we're gonna be seeing awesome laptops from MSI, like the refresh of their basically beastly Titan. We got to see a refresh version of our favorite laptops from Asus, like the Zephyrus, the Strix, and even the Scar, which if you haven't seen our short on with Luke and LMG, you gotta check that out because, man, I'm so excited about how easy it is to upgrade. Even HP had a refresh of their Omen laptops that one was capable of pulling 250 plus watts for both the GPU and the CPU. Honestly, hearing their excitement and seeing their products in person got us more excited than what we saw out of Intel's keynote. Speaking of refreshes, Intel did make one other thing clear. Refresh your BIOS, meaning update it. Now, if you're running an Intel Core Ultra desktop processor, which you're probably like, wait, this is new. Yeah, they've done a bunch of performance updates, which include needing BIOS updates, so update your BIOS. Now, if you're on a 13th gen core processor, update your BIOS so you don't have basically productivity or performance issues or frankly stability issues. Same with 14th gen, update your BIOS. Point is, if you're running an Intel CPU, update your BIOS. You know what? We'll wait. You know what? Actually, while we're waiting on your BIOS update, why don't we just wrap this up? You know, that could be a while. I know we're a little late to the game, but we wanted to share some thoughts with you about everything Intel showed off at CES. And we want to know what you think. What do you think about Intel's announcements? What did you think about the overall presence that they had at CES? And is there a new laptop refresh that you're excited to see? Because I know I am. And what about the new budget motherboards and CPUs? Do you have any ideas for builds? Let us know down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell so that you get a notification each and every time we post videos like this right here on Robeytech. And stick around because you know what? We'll be reviewing laptops, checking out motherboards, and building PCs with all of those new parts once they're released. So if there's something you're interested in, let us, again, know down in the comments below. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to continue the conversation, maybe talk about new laptops or motherboards or builds or whatever, head over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech. Amazing place to talk to other tech and PC enthusiasts about these very, very cool things. And you know what? You might just make a friend. Also, follow us on all the other social media at Robeytech, absolutely everywhere. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.